Hello, welcome to Beach View, our podcast about all sorts of things and or stuff.
Yep, and we're doing our second week of 4 albums. This time we're doing Gossamer by Passion Pit, which is a 2012 album, and I wanted to do this one because it's a synth pop album that I actually like, and following off of our discussion of last week's album, which was also a synth pop album.
Yes, that's right. So I was kind of surprised because I know synth pop really isn't your preferred genre. But when you said that there was an album that you liked that was in this genre, I was like, let's see what it is. So we gave it a try.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what'd you think of this?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I had no reference points for this, even though I had heard of Passion Pit before. I've heard, maybe a long time ago. I know we've talked about it before, but I, again, had never listened to this whole album. And so I didn't really know what this was all about at all, like going into it. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way, obviously. That's why I picked this album. And I was like, during the course of listening to this, I was trying to think why I like this album, but not other works in the genre, and I don't think I have a good answer. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's definitely, I think, more indie, less mainstream, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe so. Like, if I had to pin down, though, what I really like about this album, I think it's, like, the atmosphere, like particularly how the instrument choices contribute to that, and, like, when there's backing vocals on any of these tracks, I think they're really solid. It just creates a whole, mood through, like, the composition choices, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I actually saw a description online that said it's like indie-tronica, which I was like, oh, never heard that description before. So I think that's kind of more why you probably like this better. It's definitely a different sound. I think it's pretty good. Like, it's low key enough for me to enjoy listening to it. But I think it's really, I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've listened to this album, too. So, it's nice going back to it. I'm glad I listened to it again.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you want to get into the track by track?
Yeah, let's do it. So, first one, Take a Walk.
Yes, this was the most popular song off this album.
Really?
Yeah, have you heard of it before?
No.
No, really, huh? Because it was, I mean, I don't know that it ever broke mainstream, but you would hear it around places, so.
Yeah, no, I never heard this. I never heard any of these songs, I don't believe. Which, I was kind of surprised because usually I'll at least, hear a song off of an album that we do, even if I'm not, like, super familiar with the artist. But I don't recall hearing this, but what'd you think of this one?
Yeah, it's very poppy, like, very high energy. The, like, melody, I think, is what really, like, propelled this song into its popularity. This is very, like, bouncy vibe on the synths. And it's an interesting song lyrically, too.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I like the opening organ sounds. I mean, I did have the feeling that it was a little familiar, but not the feeling that I had heard it before, if that makes any kind of sense. Yeah. So it's probably like some latent memory that I had, but I thought it had a good beat. The lyrics are kind of depressing, but it's about like immigrant family members, like life struggles, how men deal with like problems and money. So it's kind of like these kind of heavier topics. But I didn't think it was like a sad song. Like, it was,
no,
and it's definitely, I think the context of this album being, it's very much autobiographical, as the lead singer. He said in an interview, like, that people thought that this song was just about immigration in general. And he was like, no, it wasn't a political piece. Like, this was just about certain members of my family that, it's written from their perspective. It's not his personal voice, it's their personal
Okay.
voice.
Well, yeah, I got that. I didn't realize it was like a, because this seems like a sort of abstracted, like, immigrant story to me.
Yes. Yeah. No, he said it was about specific, like, and like a few different people in his family and their experiences. So
Okay.
he's like, it wasn't meant to be political at all, and people took it to be political.
Well, there's that one line,
Yeah.
which is pretty explicitly, political, but...
Yeah. Yeah, but I thought that was an interesting read. And I think, reading, his answers to what the song was about, to me made it more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, interesting song in that leads. As far as pop songs go, I'm not sure I've ever heard one that's sort of like several vignettes of immigrant stories, so.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't think I have either. I thought it was interesting for sure. Now, I did read somebody's take was that they didn't feel like this song went with the rest of the album, just like the theme behind
lyrical
it.
content, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm kind of like, it's part of his life story, so in a way it does, and I can see why people or that person would say it didn't. But it didn't bother me. Like, I thought the whole sound of the whole album was pretty cohesive.
Yeah. It's just the lyrical content on this is different from the rest of the album, but that's not like a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, good song.
Neat song. Next.
All right, next, I'll Be All Right. So, they talk about being so self-loathing, self-medicating, and like telling a love to go if they want to. So this is another, the lyrics are pretty deep subjects.
Yeah, depressing.
Yeah, depressing. Yeah, exactly.
But this is a very, like, high energy song.
Yeah, depressing but high energy, but also I think it's a good song. Like,
oh, yeah.
I think the music was interesting to me. I like the sound of it. It was depressing subject, which most of these are, let's face it, but...
Not all of them, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a good song, yeah.
Yeah, I really like this song. I like the high-pitched, like, vocals with the weird effect on them that repeats throughout this. It's got this very, like, frantic energy, too. I really like the chorus.
Yeah.
The instruments are really good. Yeah, it's a good song.
And the message, I'll be all right, I think, like, that's good. Like, is he trying to convince himself he'll be all right? Or is it, like, an uplifting, like, no matter what happens, I'll be all right? That's up for interpretation.
Well, I think it's meant to be, like, towards their partner. It's like, they feel like they're bad for their partner. It's like, you can leave, you don't need to worry about, like, how I'll do with the breakup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. Depressing but good. Let's move on. Carried Away. This one, to me, is very retro sounding. Like, I pictured people dancing in, like, old 70s style clothes. I don't know why, but it just had that, like, retro feel to me. I liked it. I think, like, the man and the woman who the song is about, like, trapped in a cycle of, like, fighting and apologizing, which I thought, that's a pretty common thing. They pretend to be, like, friends and, like, kind of overlook those things, but then... it's still like this kind of give and take always, it seems like, based on the lyrics.
Yeah. Another one about problems.
Yeah.
But this is also a very poppy song, too. It's very upbeat.
Yeah, and I think that's why I felt like it was like, had this kind of retro sound, just like I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was good. And I mean, the subject obviously is super relatable to anyone in this type of relationship, so... I thought this was a good one.
Yeah, I think I like the lyrics a lot in this song, especially because they're like the vocal melodies are like is very good to sing along with.
Yeah,
I feel like, and I really like the line, "No, I'm not as proper. My money's in copper, ripped down from the brownstones to the street."
Yeah,
I think that's just like a neat turn of phrase.
I thought that was too. It's kind of poetic, I like how he says his money's in copper. Like,
yeah,
he's not at that level. In other words, I thought that was good.
Yeah, good song.
Yeah, definitely a good song.
Next.
Okay, Constant Conversations. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this is maybe my favorite song on the album. It's like just from the like get-go, like a great atmosphere. It's a bit slower, but I think it really is a good song.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, I like the high-pitched vocal lines that sort of reoccur throughout here.
Yeah, I agree with that. And as we talked about this being very much about his life, we can see that here. I like the part where he says, "You never know where some people will go. Yeah, some people have been hurting me. You can tell by look, by the slightest crook in the neck or the blink of an eye." Like, to me, that's kind of like talking about like fake people, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell by their look. He's, I think, calling out that some people you can't really trust, I guess. And I think like this is one of those things where the context really like gets it for me. Like he, had said that he had a problem with drinking and, depression and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very present in this song.
Yeah, super present. And like I think he said in interviews and stuff that he relied more and more like on his fiance at the time to kind of like help him or balance out the darkness, I guess, or really be like a sounding board for his bad habits. So I think like this song really shows you what he's talking about there. So
Yeah.
I like having the context for this because it makes the song more meaningful to me.
I mean, I don't even think you need the context for this. It's like all right there in the song on this one.
That's very true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But here, like, hearing, because some artists can like write about stuff that's not necessarily like going on in their lives, but like, hearing this personal story. But no, you're absolutely right. It's right there in the lyrics.
Yeah, I really like the verses in this song. I think they're well written, and I think the story they tell is a compelling one.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, I don't know. To me, lines just like "I never want to hurt you, baby. I'm just a mess with a name and a price, and now I'm drunker than before they told me drinking doesn't make me nice." Is just like I think that really captures what it's going for very well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, I like how like poetic his lyrics are. Even though he comes right out and says, what he's meaning, I just think there's like a poetry to it that makes it really just like a profound like thought. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's just a very like lyrically, I think like he's very talented.
Yeah. Also, the backing vocals in this track are really solid. I think they really like make this track.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Well, next
we have Mirrored Sea. I think for this one, the drums are a nice feature here. And to me, this song is about his past and how it haunts him.
Yeah.
And I think it has, a good sound. I liked it. And I think, like, his passion for the drink, like, he says, like, his passion for the drink is in this song. So, like, it's about, his alcoholism, I think. And I like how he said he could look good in the light and look bad in the dark. I think that's, very descriptive of a person like going through depression or with like substance use disorder, where you can look okay to some people or you can feel okay, in the light, but in the dark is when it gets bad. So like, when your depression gets bad, that kind of thing. So I like that line in particular.
Yeah, it's another upbeat pop song with depressing lyrics. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I like, normally I don't like depressing songs, but I think like these songs are so meaningful, like they really capture what he was going through and what people with depression or, who battle alcoholism go through in a lot of ways.
Yeah, also the chorus is really solid on this song.
Yeah.
It's like, just musically and lyrically, this big chorus works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, next
we have Cry Like a Ghost. So first off, my cat didn't like the high notes.
I could see that, yeah.
But I did. Yeah. So what did you think of this?
Yeah, this one's a bit more mellow than some of the previous songs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once again, I like this song. I feel like the opening sort of, like the synth lines and strings are really good, and the chorus is, again, really good. And I like the synth bass in the verses. There's this like synth bass throughout it. I really like that texture and the that sound. Yeah, more lyrics about alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, hitting that theme. Yeah, solid song generally.
Yeah, I think it's a solid song too, and as the title suggests, I think this song is haunting. Cry Like a Ghost. I really like the name of it, and I
Yeah,
like the lyrics too. And like you said, the synths are like really good in that song. That sounds so goofy, but I thought this was like a really good example of like when they just like come together really nicely.
yeah,
The instrumentation I thought was really good, and again about his alcoholism. I think like he's kind of talking about how he feels, and I think it's just I think he just captures it perfectly. Like I think he's so honest and truthful in all of this that it just the emotion comes across to me. I think that's really good.
yep. Don't like the lyrics in the bridge though.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So next,
Next, On My Way.
yes.
So he says, let's get married. I'll buy a ring and then we'll
Yeah.
consecrate this messy love. So yeah, this is obviously like about his relationship. It's definitely a
Yeah.
super personal song, as all of these are. But I think like, he's trying to convince his fiance, I guess, or tell his fiance that, you know, there are better parts of me here. And obviously like she was with him through all of this, it sounds like. So I think it's both like a kind of like a happy song, but it's got like a sweet sound to it, but it's also like really sad. Like just the one line where he says, "Just believe in me, Christina." Like that was just like so sad because you could just feel this like hopefulness or this like, I know there's better in me and I need you to believe in me kind of thing. Maybe I'm reading into it a little bit, but I'm like I just think that was just a really pretty like beautiful sentiment.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah, definitely about that, like trying to make a kind of tumultuous relationship work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure that was super hard in real life. And I think it comes across, in his music.
Yeah, another like big chorus. I like the instruments again. Although, like, I like this song. It feels a bit too saccharine musically. Like, this the best term
Yeah,
for it.
it
I feel like.
does. It really does. Yeah. I agree completely with that. It has this like sweet, like, yeah.
Yeah. So next.
Next, we have Hideaway. So I like the intro music here. I wrote down, it's how I feel like my brain sounds sometimes. Like just it's like layers of, all these sounds. I think it's also like a little depressing, like with
Yeah.
lyrics like you're not strong, so you can hurt so badly. Like that's just sad. It's kind of like a train of like depressive thoughts, which we know depressive thoughts aren't always reflective of reality, to the people who are feeling them. But even though it's kind of sad, like I also think this is another example of one that's like kind of uplifting in a way, and it's just a beautiful song. I really like this song. I think like this is probably my favorite song on the album.
Oh, really? I think
Yeah.
this is my least favorite on the album.
That's so funny. We're always like opposites on that. I really enjoyed this song.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but the instruments and something about the timbre just like I don't really like.
Don't do it for you.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like such like deep lyrically, and I like the sound. I really like the intro, which is interesting for me because I normally don't like, like a long intro like that, and I thought it was good though.
I do like this intro though. I think that sounds good.
Yeah. Well, we can agree on that.
Yeah. All right. Next.
Okay, next we have Two Veils to Hide My Face. So this is a short song. It's like 34 seconds, I believe. And would you call this an interlude?
Yeah, I'd call it an interlude.
Yeah, so it's definitely like I don't know. I didn't like it. I think it's like
Oh, really?
it's kind of like creepy to me. It had just like a creepy
How's
sound
this
to me.
creepy?
I don't know. I just got a creepy vibe.
You get creeped out too easily.
I know. I don't know. It's just like the way they're singing on it. I don't know. It's like just a little. It's just like a little weird to me.
It's like a acapella sung poem sort of deal.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
there's some vocal effects in there too.
definitely, and it just to me, I just didn't care for it.
Oh, I liked it.
Oh, good.
I like this song.
I'm glad somebody did.
It's a neat song. I like the poem. I think it works as a good interlude.
Yeah, I mean, like the poem's nice. I don't know, something about it. I was like not feeling it.
All right. I mean,
I mean, I like that it was short. Like, don't get me wrong, but had less time for me to be creeped out in. But yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
well, next.
moving on. All right, number 10, we have Love is Greed, and I think as the title says, it's about love. So,
Yes.
I think like this is okay to me. Like, it's not my favorite on the album. I don't particularly like the love, love, love lyrics and the delivery, though it is a peppy song.
Yeah.
Just that love, love, love part to me just wasn't doing it for me. What did you think?
I like this song. It's got a good energy to it, I think. I like the horn. That's like the bulk of the song and the weird like xylophone type sound.
Yeah.
I like that. Gives it a weird like texture throughout. It's really like happy for a song that's kind of I'm not sure I would call it happy, but lyrically, but it's not like sad. It's kind of just like ruminating on love.
Yeah.
As a concept. It's very verbose too lyrically.
It is. I agree. So, like some of the lyrics, he says, "Love is just greed. It's almost taking me, and now I can see it's selfish and mean." So I think like he's trying to say, like because he's like damaged goods, like it's greedy for me to love someone, kind of thing. Like I don't want to subject somebody else to this. In other words, but that could just be me, extrapolating this, but. I thought that was, it's definitely meaningful lyrics. And then he says, "Love is not a veil to hide your voice. All this talk of love just turns to noise." And so it is sad to me, like that line of thought, but it's like a peppy song. So I think they kind of, the sad lyrics and like the peppiness of the song kind of counterbalance each other.
Yeah, it's an interesting song. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like dislike the song, but it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. Next.
All right, next. It's Not My Fault I'm Happy. So this is interesting. It's got those like high-pitched chorus again. Or not chorus, it's got the high-pitched vocals.
Yeah.
So I like that. I think like I liked it. I thought it was about his depression and how people view the combating sides of depression. Like it's not easily understood by people who don't experience it. So I think that the song is kind of about that. And I think like it's raw, it's evocative, and I think it's well done. This to me was another one of my favorites on the album.
Oh, okay. I think I like this song, but I'm not like sure about it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very grand. It's another verbose song, so I don't know. It's kind of a strange, I guess, to me.
Yeah. It's funny that the ones that are like my favorites are you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's got this, like, driving beat, in parts of it that I guess I like.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Again, maybe, like, too saccharine, or, like, too grand, too ornate, I don't know.
I got you.
Definitely, I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
I like the message behind it, I think, like, to me is, meaningful, so I think that's what I liked about it.
Ah, okay. Well, next,
which this is the final song on the album, Where We Belong. What did you think?
Yeah, so I don't like the intro. Just, I don't know, not my favorite, but I like this song. Even though this is also, like, very grand, and it's got this whole, like, sort of build up that it keeps, like, building and building and building until the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like this song. It's, yeah, I like the vocal melodies and that build up, which is interesting because I remember, like, not liking this song.
Yeah.
I remember, like, when I was, like, listening to this again, I was like, I remember not liking this song. I remember this being my least favorite, but, yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, I think it's lyrically a very sad song. And I didn't mind the intro instrumentation. I thought that was good. It didn't bother me, but then it kind of gets into this beat and it reminded me of like a Pat Benatar song.
Oh,
Like just that kind of stuttering, I don't know how you describe it, but I think like stuttering beat.
yeah.
Yeah, it just was very like, reminded me of Pat Benatar. But it's very sad, but it like picks up at the end. But it's also like a beautiful song. So I liked it. I don't know that I would listen to this often just because to me it's like very depressing. But it is beautiful, so I'll give it that. Like the lyrics are just super truthful, and I think like, he says in interviews that this was like a very therapeutic album for him, and I like that about it. And this song to me like is one of those that you can tell would be kind of, I guess, cathartic for him to write about and process and stuff like that. So I think that's why it's a beautiful song in my opinion, but
Yeah.
kind of, again, depressing.
And I can also see, especially on this song, the sense of catharsis and the build up, and especially like the vocal delivery towards the end.
Yes. Totally agree.
And also I like there's a lot of like kind of glitchy and like sort of noisy bits
Yes.
throughout the song that I like. So that's neat.
That's neat. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Album as a whole, closing thoughts?
Yeah, closing thoughts. So I like that it was very much autobiographical. And to me, this album was an example of how that context plays a big part for me when I'm listening to music. I like to have that background context. It's just something we talked about before in our podcast. Overall, I love the sound. I think it's a nice departure from my typical playlist. And even though, like we said, it's synth pop, it's got a different sound and feel to it, and I really enjoyed that. But I think, like, it's very tough subjects. Like, it gets really in-depth into these, like, tough subjects lyrically, but it's still, like, again, low-key enough for me to, like, enjoy listening to it. So, it's not, I think it balances, like, the depressing stuff with, like, kind of peppier beats. I enjoy that. And I think it's a really like unique sound. Yeah.
Glad I listened to this again. It's been a while. I liked it back then. I like it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, just the vocals, especially backing vocals, are really good, and there's a lot of like good choices in the instrumentation, and it's very atmospheric, like I said. But, you said it's depressing, but to me this is often, like, a fun album.
Yeah,
especially on the, like, front half, because it's so poppy.
It is.
It's got this, like, a lot of the, like, those first, like, 5 songs or so, there's a lot of, like, really frantic and, like high-energy songs.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think just lyrically, it's like, you can kind of have empathy for, or sympathy for, like, what he was going through. And I think the context is what makes it, like, more depressing lyrically. But also, like, it's really beautiful that, like, he poured his heart and soul into this, as he said. So I think, like, when an artist is telling you, like, he took 3 years to really, like, delve into this and make it a part of who he is, I think that's just a beautiful thing, too.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you need the context, just because I feel like in most of these songs, the like what it's about and the fact that it feels very personal in the writing. Like I think you could listen to this absent of any like interviews or previous knowledge, and still come away with that same picture.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which is what I did when I first listened to this. I mean, I've still never like looked up interviews or anything about this.
Yeah.
But like everything you've said from like looking into it, it's like, yeah, that makes total, like, perfect sense, just, how the lyrics go.
Yeah, I like to get the background, when I'm delving into an album.
Yeah, that's not my thing. I prefer to just listen to it.
Yeah, no, I think I get a little deeper than, you need to, but I think it's, my love of reading and like stories. So I think that's where it comes from. But I do agree with you. You don't need the context for this. Like it's right out there in the open. But for me, it adds a level when you understand like what the artist, like what he says in interviews as to what he was going through and his relationship and his depression and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, even though I don't want people to come away thinking it's a super depressing album. Like you said, it is poppy. It's like high energy in some places. Like it's not completely depressing. Just the lyrics to me are heavy subjects,
Yeah.
but it balances out really well with the music.
Yeah. But yeah, good album. Anything else, or I'll take us out?
No, I think that's all I have to say about Gossamer.
Yeah, so that's been Beach View. Thanks for listening, and tune in next time. Bye.
Bye.